Mempho Metal Podcast, Episode 6. Tonight is so metally. Mr. Ian Younkin, AUTOLITH, Shards of Humanity, EXCAVATE, Ritual Fog. Yeah, we could go on or whatever. Thank you, man. Thank you for being here.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you for having me.
Yes. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. Just hanging out in the living room. There's some cats roaming around.
That's good.
Life's good.
All right. Well, I mean, that's, like I tell everybody, man, the whole purpose of this thing is, dude, your story. Tell me where it started. How did you know when you got the call? When you got the calling, I meant. Yeah.
Well, so the story, huh? Well,
Yeah.
I was born a baby, and then
You were too?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, I had a tail.
So I guess music's always been like a thing in my family. Like everyone's real into music, whether it's just rock, gospel, funk, Motown, you name it. Everyone's into something. So I was surrounded by music growing up. So it was one way or another I was gonna be involved in music. I mean, it's in my blood, so to speak.
Awesome.
So where did I start? My first CD was probably Smash Mouth's Astro Lounge. I was maybe 5 or 6 or something like that. I was a wee little kid.
Way back.
So I'm 31 now, so you do the math. So, I was, singing All Star, having a great time. Then I graduated to Creed, get that Human Clay record. I was, can you take me higher? You know the tracks.
I've heard that.
They still hold up. Yeah, you gotta awesome. put respect on their name.
Hey, Tremonti's killer, dude. Tremonti is, oh my god, that guy's a bad guitar player.
Oh yeah. Oh,
be a bad man.
Some cat action in the background. So you start with Smash Mouth. The journey goes to Creed. And then Linkin Park came into the picture, and that's when I first heard like yelling, and that's kind of spearheaded me into I think I like rock music like for real. This is really cool stuff. So I was maybe like 5th grade or something like that. And I was still living in Ohio at that point. So I was born in Ohio, and then I moved down to Memphis when I was about 11 or 12 or so. Then trying to imagine my timeline's crazy. So then, as most people my age did, the internet came around. That's where I discovered most of my music. I mean, I know Tino and Scott and them talking about tape trading. My music discovery is not nearly as cool. I was on the MySpace and Pure Volume, digging around, listening to all sorts of probably really terrible music, and some of it may be pretty good. Who knows at this point?
we all went through some pretty terrible music, man. I remember the tape trading days. I remember things like that. My story probably isn't as cool as theirs either. But as long as we found it, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
It led us somewhere.
Oh yeah. And before, I kind of jumped a little bit before like getting on like, MySpace and YouTube and LimeWire, you name it, find music. I would go to like Cat's Music in Cordova to get CDs. I remember buying System of a Down's Toxicity, and that record really opened up a lot of doors for me. Like I was obsessed with System of a Down. Like in 7th grade, I can remember I had like 3 or 4 System of a Down shirts, and every day of the week, System of a Down. Like I was System of a Down kid. I was a freak. But it was great, and I still bust out some of that stuff every now and again today, because why not? It's fun. So I know I'm jumping around my timeline a little bit here. So middle school, Ian, I'm in marching band. I'm playing the trumpet. That's kind of where I start getting some musical knowledge and skills. Skills is loose definition there. And then, yeah, so not playing guitar yet. Then I want to say it was around 8th grade when I got one of those starter Squire guitar amp combo things, and that's when everything just went downhill. I just started like playing Misfits songs, Green Day songs, attempting to learn Led Zeppelin stuff, Nirvana stuff. Those were the kind of things I was, trying to hone some chops on. I was awful for a long time.
No, I mean,
I still like to
you
say I'm
start
awful
with
at
things
guitar.
that you can kind of.
Basically a caveman with a really loud ear now, but back then it was just a caveman with really quiet gear. So started moving into the high school realm. Still in marching band and playing trumpet throughout that. I started picking up bass by playing in the jazz band in high school, and that's where I started getting some semblance of skill. Because I could read music, and then I just I honestly, for the guitar or bass rather, for jazz band, I would translate the music into tabs because it was easier to read at the time. So I kind of cheated.
I thought that was reading music when I learned to read tabs.
Yeah. Which, having said that, if my brother sees this, he'll probably shake his head in shame. He's actually about to be a band director. He went to college and stuff to be a band director.
That's
he's
cool.
Just like really 2 years younger than me, so he went all guns blazing into that world. Meanwhile, it was around high school is when I started diverting into more metal stuff. So that's when I really started getting into your starter pack bands, your Slayers, Megadeth, Metallica. At the time, Avenged Sevenfold and Trivium, like As I Lay Dying was really big. Killswitch Engage, Shadows Fall, that kind of stuff was all around at that time. So this was like the mid 2000s. So that was everything at that point. So metalcore was what I was aware of. I didn't know it was metalcore. To me it was just metal.
Right. That was around the rebooted MTV2 or whatever they called it.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. I was religious on watching Headbangers Ball, the Jamie Josta era of it.
Yeah.
I had no idea who Jamie Josta was until later, but I was just like, oh cool. So they'll play a System of a Down song, and then they'll play a Nile song, and then they'll play just a screamo, Census Fail kind of thing, all in a 2-hour program, and it was blowing my little mind. And I loved all.
I had something for everybody.
I had no discretion on what was good or bad. It was all good. It was all awesome. I was just stoked on everything.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember my Headbangers Ball religious watching was not that one. Mine was the Ricky Rackman one.
You're the Ricky Rackman? Yeah, I've watched a lot of old clips of that, a lot of old interviews, and that looks like a fun time.
Oh, yeah. It was, like you said, they would mix the screamo bands with death metal and things like that. Well, back then it was
more heavy metal stuff, Poisons and things like that, and then Morbid Angel or something.
Funny you say Morbid Angel, because that's where Rapture. Mm-hmm. Rapture was the first Morbid Angel song I heard. That's also how I discovered Steve Vai. So.
Oh yeah, with the Universe guitar.
Yeah, For the Love of God. No, Audience is Listening, and he had hosted a few times or whatever. So yeah, Morbid Angel and Steve Vai, and just for the record, I did not get the 7-string thing from Korn. I did not.
I probably did.
And that's cool. That's fine. But,
actually, jumping ahead, for the 7-string stuff, I just happened to get it, I just needed a guitar that could handle lower tuning.
Yeah.
I wasn't, intending to, get a 7-string, but it just kind of found its way to me, and it's still one of my better playing guitars out of my arsenal now.
Yeah. So you went through the same hell I did, probably, trying to make a 6-string 24 3/4 or 25.5 inch scale guitar work with those types of tunings.
Oh, I make it work now.
It never happened for me. It was 7, and I think there's an 8 string behind me, I think.
Yeah.
But I could never make it work on those guitars because the strings had to be bigger.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I've always played 8s and 9s. So
Yeah. Now
yeah,
I'm able to get my Rickenbacker in drop A now, which is
wow.
absurd. And Brian Hillhouse, he does the same thing with his Rick for Autolith. So we're both dual Ricks.
Awesome.
And it's very silly, but it's
Rickenbacker guitar?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like they're the solid
that's-
body ones. They're mine's the 650D model, and it's fun. I installed a new like a X2N DiMarzio pickup in it, so I'm probably the only one with a Rickenbacker with a X2N pickup in it.
Well, that's awesome. I always like the Rickenbacker. I don't know what model it is or whatever, but the guitars that look like Lemmy's bass.
Oh yeah, that is my dream bass. Getting any Rick bass, honestly.
Oh.
And Lemmy looks like a champ with it, so it's like weird seeing him without it. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, crazy. Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no.
We get into guitars.
I'm a tangent man. I'll go off.
Yeah.
So where was I? I was talking about.
If I nerd out on you, man, you'll just have to stop me.
Oh, I can play ball.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we're talking Headbangers Ball, Jamie Josta era. So yeah, in high school, that's when I start making friends with other people who are into the same like heavy music that I am, and I'm like, all right, let's start jamming with people. And there were one group of guys. We had a band. I think we maybe played a school talent show. One year we played under the name Cadency. Then one year we played under the name Aluminum Tab, and we covered Avenged Sevenfold one year, and then we covered Rage Against the Machine one year.
Awesome.
And I think we covered Him, like that Wings of a Butterflies track. And I think we also covered As I Lay Dying, all within made a medley out of it, because they give you like 10 minutes. So we made a medley out of like Rage Against the Machine, Him, and As I Lay Dying, and it was probably absurd. But hell, so I was probably like sophomore in high school at that point. And then we got to the point where like, all right, let's maybe do like a real band where we write our own music. So the first like real band I was in was called Acts of the Undead. So it was definitely like metalcore, deathcore style stuff. Real heavy inspiration from like your All Shall Perishes and I'd say a Suicide Silence, Through the Eyes of the Dead, things like that. I didn't write much of the music there. I was just playing bass, and a guy named Jasmine Mander, he was the main songwriter behind that.
Gotcha.
We played a couple shows around town. The first couple were like those guerrilla productions ones that taking advantage of some kids who didn't know better, but it was still cool. We still had fun with it, and got to meet other bands and stuff that way, and learn what not to do the hard way, how to exist at a venue, and we made our mistakes young, so we could grow and stuff like that. So that band, we had like just an EP, and it was like, I think I have a CD of it laying around somewhere, but I don't think it's online anywhere. Then the guy Jasmine who wrote all the music, he moved to Oregon, so that dissolved that band. And then the next band I was in high school was a metalcore, deathcore kind of band called Plagueborn, where I did the vocals, and I just kind of winged it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just yelling and stuff. That one actually has some members that went on to do other things around town. So the drummer of that band, he went on to sing in that band Vera.
Yes.
Yeah, Nick Douglas. He was in Plagueborn with me. He's probably like, damn it, why'd you bring my name into this? But he was in it, and a few other friends of ours. My brother actually played bass for a little bit as well, which was funny because he's not really a metal guy. He's like I joke around saying he's like the Dave Matthews version of me. But I mean that in a sweet, loving way.
Absolutely.
He's by far way more talented at guitar and bass than me. So Plagueborn pretty much dissolved when I went to college. So I actually left Memphis for 4 years. I went to college in Chattanooga. Went to UTC out there and got me a good old business degree. So, and while I was there, I played with some guys. I did a band very briefly called Sleep Near, that we never recorded or anything. But some of those guys still play music around Chattanooga and stuff and do cool things there. More along the hardcore side now. And then after I finished college, I hung around Chattanooga for a year. Then I moved back to Memphis. So that puts my college years, I really didn't do as much music wise. I went to a lot of shows in Chattanooga, so I was really involved. Like going to they had a lot of like punk stuff going on there. So it was like shows in people's basements or in the basement of like a vegan restaurant.
Did you get to see Coat Hanger Abortion?
Oh yeah, I saw them a couple times.
Oh dude.
Yeah, they were pretty much the only like tech death type band in town.
Yeah.
Most other bands were either like hardcore. There's a lot of that Christian metalcore stuff around there, which wasn't necessarily my cup of tea. And then like a lot of punk stuff. Like Chattanooga was, at least during the time that I was there, they had a big scene revolving around mainly this venue called Antarctica. Mm-hmm. It was this punk house basement, and they had a rule where you could not even post their flyers online. You could only post their flyers like physically around town to promote.
Oh, very DIY,
they're like that,
very
they're
DIY,
like that
yeah.
Stuff. But it was cool. Like people would just drive by, and like if you could see from the street if a show was happening, people would just drive up and check out a show.
Wow,
so it was cool.
Well, that's cool though. To keep it. I won't call it primitive. I mean, that's very.
You could call it primitive.
Yeah, very cult with a K.
Yeah, they had all kinds of bands there. They had some black metal bands play there sometimes. I saw Full of Hell there once. It's crazy.
Wow. Noel is another band that, man, I'm really, really, really proud of those guys, man.
Oh, they're awesome. I remember when they were like just starting. I was working at a grocery store at the time, and I would literally see Jamie and Lucas of Noel come in, probably with their parent hiding somewhere, and I was probably bored. I was like, yo, cool shirt, guy, because they'd be rocking like a Gay Creeper shirt or something like that. So I got to know them before they were like really playing shows or anything. It was just happenstance. They were at my job, and I was just like being friendly. Hey, and it blossomed.
That happened. That happened a lot when I was growing up too. It was, you'd see a guy in a shirt, oh cool. I have one of my very best friends. We've been friends for 30 years, and we passed each other somewhere. I want to say school maybe, and it was our shirts. It was, but that it just doesn't, where I'm from. That just doesn't happen anymore. I'm the guy walking around with a death metal shirt on or something.
Yeah, it's part of my daily uniform usually.
Yes. Oh, so lucky.
All right. So where was I? I was living in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Went to college there. Graduated. Got my lovely business administration degree.
Awesome.
I was working at Whole Foods in Chattanooga, and then I felt like my time was up in Chattanooga, so I moved back to Memphis. My parents were here, brother's here, and that's when things really started to heat up with me playing with bands again. Pretty much, man, within like a couple months of moving back. So I was friends with Todd Cochran of Shards of Humanity in high school. I was actually learning some of the songs before I went off to college that would be on the Shards demo. That came out, man, that had to be like 2010 or something when that demo came out. So I was learning those songs, and then I went off to college. Came back. I went to see Shards play at Murphy's. They played some like after show. That was like it was the night they played with Arch Enemy, and they played an after show at Murphy's with Zubrula, Rob O'Neill's band, and this band called Bearing Teeth. And I just caught up with Todd. I noticed they were only a 3-piece, and I was like, "You looking for someone to play with? You need another person in there?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." It was like a match made in heaven. It was like synergy, and I'd known Ryan and Larry as well, more casually at the time, but then I got to know them as well. So Shards was the first like real deal band I was like playing shows with, which was a lot of fun. That music was so fun to play. Is so fun to play. Learning it's a hell of a time. I know you've seen Todd play the guitar. It's more so me like trying to keep up with the man, and like
he's a joy to watch. I haven't seen Shards in some years, but I do remember him, and I always enjoyed watching him. And Ryan's a killer drummer too. So.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's a proper thrash drum man for sure.
This was probably around 2010, 2012 maybe when I.
That's probably when they started playing shows, because they were playing shows as a 2-piece for a while at first, and then it was just Todd and Ryan, and then they brought on Larry, and he was generally playing bass, but they were trying to move him to guitar.
Yeah.
And so it was 2015 when I moved back to Memphis from Chattanooga. That was 2015, and it was just them 3-piece. So I kind of shifted into bass. Larry picked up guitar, and boom, that was Shards. And then that story was basically when we wrote that Cold Logic record. Took us a while to like fine tune all the songs writing wise, and then it took us a good while to record it just because we wanted it to be like perfect. And,
very well done.
And it's a crisp record, I will say. I didn't write a lick on it other than a few like bass lines that didn't necessarily match the guitar lines, but there's some good songs, and we stand behind that record, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I liked it, man. Really liked it.
Yeah. So that leads to, Ian, you're in all these other bands. How did that happen? It's a great question.
Yeah.
So with Shards, I was just playing bass, and I was playing guitar as well, and I just really wanted to. I was writing my own songs, and I really wanted to do something like my own project that was just starting that and write different kinds of songs, maybe songs that weren't as technical. I wanted it to be heavy, of course, but maybe just a little bit more focus on songwriting and kind of experimenting a little more. And that's when AUTOLITH started to form. So yeah, AUTOLITH.
Forever.
Yep. That was one of the first songs we wrote, probably.
Love it. Fucking love it.
So yeah, so it first started with me and Ryan O'Neill. I met him through actually a guy I met at Whole Foods, a coworker of mine at Whole Foods. His name's Josh Brooks. He currently plays in the band Slumdog. They're kind of more doomy indie rock. That's what I like to call it. They're kind of like this. They remind me of this band called True Widow a lot, and they'll own to that. So I get introduced to Ryan through Josh, and Ryan, he played with Rag Picker back in the day, and then he also played with Seraph the Light, and that was probably what he was most known for at the time. possibly still most known for at the time. Now.
I remember him.
Yeah, but me and him started jamming, and it was, I mean, at first it started off, like, if you listen to our, like, self-titled demo, EP, whatever you want to call it, the style is a good bit different than the other few releases we have. We really don't have that many releases in general. Those first 3 songs, they're more, like, inspired by Cursed, His Hero Is Gone, Baptist, Converge, that kind of stuff. A little, like, it's kind of like punky, crusty hardcore with flourishes of death metal in there, but not like wasn't like full death metal yet. So we did that, and then we basically just told Nick Cox, he played bass in Seraph the Light, that, hey, you're playing bass for us. We need a bass player. Come on. So he joined us, and we were a 3-piece at that point. So this was like 2016 when this started forming. I think it was early 2017 when we released that 3-song demo.
Yeah. Pretty
sure it sounds right. Someone's going to fact check me and be like, Ian, you don't know your own band's stuff, and that's fine. I'll stand corrected. Yeah, that's Autolith. And Autolith has definitely morphed a lot since that first release. So Nick left the band because he was moving to Colombia, South America. So we added a guitar player and a bass player, Mark Brake on bass and Brian Hillhouse on guitar.
Who was in the lineup? Hang on, let the brain get to working here. When we opened for Cannabis Corpse, we played with you guys. Who was with you then? You guys were a 3-piece at the time, am I right?
I believe that may have been the first 4-piece show we did, honestly. That was with Mark and Brian.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. I do remember Mark. Definitely remember Mark.
That was a funny show.
Yeah, that was. Oh, wait. The first or second time, we somehow played with those guys twice.
Huh. I know it was Autolith, Hate Doctrine, Cannabis Corpse, and there is like a band from Alabama, I want to say, that was kind of like more metalcore leaning.
Yes.
That played in the middle of it too. It was a very, very, very strange show. It was mixed, which was cool.
Yeah.
But, it was one of those nights where one of those Memphis Mondays that.
It was, man.
It was one of those humbling Memphis Mondays.
And
it's all good.
The singer from Cannabis Corpse, he was Landfill, or Phil is what they call him, or whatever.
You could read it on his face that he was not having the best time.
Okay, that was one. Okay.
Yeah.
We played with him a second time. I mean, a year later, Same venue, same place, but we were the late show.
Weird.
Cannabis Corpse, and someone else. We were the late show when we got there, and man, the place was filled. And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be great."
The clear out.
Yeah, once ZZ Top got done playing, dude.
I mean, I'd love to see some ZZ Top, man.
Oh, of course. But this is just. I think these guys only had one Z. They didn't have both Z's that night, maybe.
There's Z Top. All right.
They were going home to catch the rest of the Z's, I think. Definitely. But once that place cleared out, and I remember Phil telling me, he was like, "Dude, I love you guys, but this is probably my last time in Memphis." Like, oh, dude.
I get it.
I definitely understood him. Definitely did. So, I mean, we bought some merch from him, and, and it tried to make it as best as we could. But, yeah, like, that second time around was
I've played out of town at shows where there have been pretty dismal performances.
Yeah.
It's amazing what the pity merch buy will do when it's just like you're playing with the other local bands and their girlfriends, and that's the crowd. But man, sometimes all of them will buy a shirt, and you're like, man, I did better on merch tonight, and there's no crowd. Then that like Autolith, we did a little weekender run right before COVID, and one night we played in Rock Island, Illinois, and it was a packed out show. We didn't draw them. It was the band we were playing with. They drew them, but we were just playing to their people. It was cool. Like, good reaction. Sold a little bit of merch.
Oh, yeah.
But the next night we played in St. Louis. It was just the bands, and they were actually the bands we played with were really, really good in St. Louis. But there's just it was a very modest crowd what may have been the last Foo Bar show ever.
Oh man.
in St. Louis, but man, they bought some merch from us, and we're like, okay, this is cool now. This is cool now. So it's amazing what that can turn it around.
Yeah, as long as you can get from one venue to the other. I mean, you do your best not to come out of your pocket, of course.
It happens,
Yeah,
I
but
gotta buy some beef jerky. I gotta, I see something stupid I want to buy.
Yeah.
See record store, it's my weakness, and then I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Shipping into the Ian Fund again.
Oh yeah, dude. My staple diet at one point was gas station burritos and just energy drinks, I believe. And not the expensive ones, no.
I think Love's had this like breakfast taco or breakfast burrito deal that was like $2 for like $3 for these like bean and cheese burritos. And I'd get that as like a breakfast sometimes, and that was probably a menace to be around. I probably was, it's bean burrito, bean and cheese,
With those
maybe a
two.
little egg in there.
Yeah, but you gotta put it very close to the heating instructions on them because they turn into weapons really quick.
Oh, absolutely, turn you into a weapon.
Yeah, it's no longer edible at all. God, yeah.
Oh yeah. All right,
Maybe that's why some rock stars don't travel together, man. They got how like the guy from Motley Crue takes his own bus or whatever. Maybe he's just gassy.
Hey man, if they have the means to do that, go for it. I'm not gonna hate on the game.
No, not at all, not at all. I've just always wondered, man. I know the costs of touring, and for you to throw in, well, I've got to have my own bus,
Yeah.
man.
Really? Yeah, I've not done like extensive touring or anything. I've mostly done like weekend stuff.
Yeah.
I've done more weekend stuff now post-COVID than I ever have between all the bands. But yeah, usually if we can make our money back, that's usually the goal. If we can break even, that's really cool. If not, oh well, we had a good time. Keep on it.
Yeah. It's not. But this.
I do this for money, right?
Well, yeah. It's
that's the goal behind it all. I don't really like metal music. I just like money.
Fake it till you make it, baby.
That's how you make money, right? Death metal?
Yeah. Oh, have you seen my pool?
No.
Oh, just my one pool, not my both pool.
Okay.
Yeah. I talked to Scott about this too. I talked to Scott about having a gold record and being a rock star and all this, and it was pretty much he's like, we don't need anything. We have Spotify.
Yep. We sure do. I probably am in a similar boat as Scott with the Spotify numbers.
Yeah. Well, it's I either have your record or I have it on Apple Music or whatever, whether I'm listening to it or streaming it or whatever, I try to give a little something back, man. Buy some shirts or some CDs.
I've mailed you a couple things over the past couple of years.
Yeah, I should have worn an AUTOLITH shirt or Ritual Fog or something.
No,
I don't know why.
You're representing the lovely black liquid of Jägermeister, so.
Yes, the dietary supplement.
It'll get you there.
Oh.
Where was I? So, AUTOLITH was a band. Is a band. We had 4 people. We released Caustic Light in 2020 in mid-March, which COVID just had happened,
Yep.
and just literally a week after I released Caustic Light with Autolith, that's when Shards of Humanity released Cold Logic as well.
Awesome.
So it was like two big releases I was working on for a long time, released in the same month. So I was definitely on cloud nine, despite being stuck at home. Well, I worked at a grocery store, so I was at work all the time because everyone was now shopping at grocery stores and not going out to eat.
Yeah.
But then we still would meet up and practice and write and stuff. Like Autolith, we're insane with writing. We'll jam a riff out and write a new song every week if we have the time. And which is kind of cool with our style of music. We don't have to it's not technical by any means, so we can easily pretty much pick up each other's riffs without too much difficulty.
Oh, that's cool, man. When it clicks, especially your drummer or your bass player or whatever, you lay something out and just you can play through a few bars of it and then everybody's hitting.
Yeah, and I've gotten, at least with Autolith, there's like certain scales I kind of lean on. That's kind of like my Autolith sound, or Brian calls it the Ian sound. There's like certain chords I use a lot. So we're able to kind of pick up on kind of figure out like what we're gonna do, which is different than all the other bands I've played in. All the other bands have been a little more methodical on writing the songs. Like, here's this riff, it's played this way. Here's the structure. It's a little more written out. Oh yeah, there's two other bands I was playing in that I still play in, Ritual Fog and Excavate. So Ritual Fog started probably late 2020. I started I think it was 2020. Yeah, when I started jamming with Andrew. He worked with me at Whole Foods, and we got to know each other pretty well. He was playing in Thief's Hand, still plays in Thief's Hand. He played bass with them at first, and then he switched over to drums.
Awesome.
And I don't think we initially intended to start a band, but I was just cranking out a lot of kind of death metal songs that didn't really fit with Autolith, so I was like, well, let's start this other thing. And that's how Ritual Fog started. We basically told our friend Spencer, he from Dawn Patrol, Thief's Hand, yeah, you're gonna play bass for us, and we were a three-piece for a good bit. How does the story go from there? So just me and Andrew would record the Visions of Blasphemy demo just on our own with Alan Burcham. Then we added Spencer. And then we started playing shows because shows were back. So we played, our first show was with Sanguisuga Bog and 200 Stab Wounds and Terminal Nation in the lounge area of the High Tone 3. That's what I like to call it.
High Tone 3, that's awesome.
High Tone 3, the new High Tone. And that show was insane. And extremely grateful that that's our first show, playing crazy thing like that. We maybe played like 12 minutes of music, and it was awesome.
Killer.
And then the rest is kind of history there. We just finished tracking drums for a new record, literally just a week or two ago. For Ritual Fog, it'll be a full length. So we're just got to do guitars, vocals, and figure out how we want to release it.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. And I don't know when this is coming out. We have shows coming up. I'll plug all the shows later. More about the history of Ian and metal music. So while Ritual Fog was forming, Spencer and Andrew are also starting another band with Tommy from Dawn Patrol and Brandon from Reserving Dirt Naps, Memphis Underworld, Big B. And they needed a bass player, and I was just around all the time because we shared a practice spot. And they're like, Ian, you just want to play bass and Excavate? And I was like, I guess might as well. I'm here all the time with you guys. So
You're a bass player.
By proxy, I was like, just kind of fell into that bass player position. Cool. And yeah, we put out that EP on Maggot Stomp, which I couldn't believe we were able to put our first like release out on a label of that stature. It probably is because we played a show in Little Rock, opening for Frozen Soul, and Stan, he does vocals in a band called Terminal Nation. He posted this pretty cool clip of us playing a kind of moshy death metal-y part, and just good crowd participation, and good vibes. And I guess literally this clip caught the attention of Maggot Stomp, and then I think Spencer or Brandon can correct me if I'm wrong. They're the ones that manage the Instagram. They just like messaging Maggot Stomp on there and worked out a handshake deal or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
So it was weird.
Nobody can tell stories like that anymore.
Get you a good clip that like that does well on Twitter, and you'll do all right. It's all luck. It's all luck. So big thank yous to Maggot Stomp, Scott at Maggot Stomp, for giving us a chance there. That got a lot of eyeballs on EXCAVATE that probably would not have found themselves looking at us if we weren't on that label. So it's really cool.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Congrats, dude. Congrats.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very much so. So
cool.
These are your active projects, like you were saying. Pretty much. You are a busy guy, dude. I try to write music.
I like staying busy, and like it goes in waves. Like some projects will, I hate calling them projects. Some bands will be more active at points, and then others will kind of like chill out for a little bit. So it kind of comes in waves. Every once in a while, things will all add up together, and I'm like, too much going on. How do I have to go to work. I have to practice all these bands. I have to sleep. I have to, be a good partner. It's all very important things that you got to prioritize. And
precisely. Yeah. Like I write, I write for. I've got, of course, Hate Doctrine. I've got, there's something else going on I won't speak of here, but I try to.
I'll pry it out of you later.
$12.99. Yeah. But I write and it's I don't know, and maybe it's a me and Lloyd kind of thing. The way we go back and forth, it's I can't. He's really, really good at structures. He's really, really good at putting things together from nothing. All I have to do is send him something, and then I get his idea, and then play it again, and I'm like, well, no, this has to go here, this has to go there, and then I'm like, oh, this isn't technical enough. I gotta, I'm nitpicky, so nitpicky. So, a 4-minute song, may have taken me, 7-8 weeks to finish. And here you are, 7-8 bands.
I mean, I only write in 2 of them, so
yeah.
There's that hell. I just have to learn the other stuff on the other one. So,
and do you find that harder than writing? Learning something that someone else wrote, do you find that harder than writing it yourself? Well, I mean, of course it's harder.
Absolutely. Because it's different styles. Like the riffs Tommy and Spencer write for EXCAVATE, way different style, like different chords and stuff, different tuning than what Todd does for Shards.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And Todd has like 2 extremes. He has like, he'll go real frantic, fast part, and then it'll be kind of a slower, groovier part that's real easy, but like real fun. And then EXCAVATE, in the words of Dave Whitty, he described us as not too smart but not too dumb. So that's kind of how those riffs go. We ended up playing a show with one of his bands, unbeknownst to us until we got there. Then,
which band?
He has a punk band called Under Attack that he plays drums. I didn't even realize, I wasn't familiar with them until we played the show with them. It was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's cool.
I know I've heard that name because punk bands. We mentioned Coathanger Abortion. Robbie from Coathanger Abortion. He's not only the biggest Metallica fan in the world. He likes a lot of punk and stuff too. So I think he had posted something to do with him, a flyer or something. But yeah, I've definitely heard the name.
Very cool.
Wow.
Very cool.
What about gear? You're another.
Gear- oh,
I got another guitar player on here. I get to talk about
yeah.
gear.
So, man, gear is such a weird thing. I'm still kind of, I like to think myself as a novice, but I'm starting to pick stuff up pretty good. I've just surrounded myself with people that know more than me, and I kind of just like steal their ideas, or they tell me what to do, and I make it work. So if you've seen AUTOLITH, I have a pretty ridiculous rig for that. So I'm playing out of 3 different amps. So right now, the amp heads, I have a Softtech MiG 100. Then I have a PV Musician solid state, so I got 2 different types of guitar heads going on there, tube and solid state.
Yeah.
And that's one signal that I split again into those 2 amp heads. And then part of the AUTOLITH thing now is, because we're only a 3-piece with no bass player, I split my signal down an octave another way, and I have that go into straight up a PA head that goes into a 215 cab and just distort it a little bit, so it's low and high at the same time. You get that octave, so it sounds real thick and obnoxiously loud. And Brian Hillhouse, he's the one that showed me that maneuver. He was doing that with his project. I said project again. Animals Comfort, his band Animals Comfort, beforehand, because that was just a 2-piece, and he would do that, and that band sounded ridiculously heavy as well.
So you split the one signal to 2 amps, and the other signal is going to the PA. So this is basically, it's a stereo rig. It's a stereo.
Yeah, it's a stereo rig.
Okay.
So I got my AB switch. Shoots out one way to the octave thing that'll drop it, and then it shoots out another way that goes to some distortion and effect pedals, and I have a looper at the end that has a like 2 outs on it, and then I use those 2 outs to send it to the 2 different guitar amps.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into the stereo rig, or dual mono, if you will. I've got 2 rigs, might as well run them, and they're both completely different. One does one thing really, really well, one does a lot of things really, really well. So
yeah,
why not?
And it works for AUTOLITH because we're not a traditional doom band, but it's kind of doomy with some death metal and black metal type stuff thrown in. And Brian's usually playing more higher register stuff and melodies. So I'm usually chugging away on the low stuff, and he's kind of making it pretty up on top. So
making it pretty. Icing.
He's a pretty handsome man, so he. And then for the other bands, like Ritual Fog, I have a pretty bare bones rig for that. I just use PV 6505, and then into 412 cab. Yeah. With some dirt in front of it, and voila, there I go.
For the longest, I was on this, I don't know if you call it a quest. The search for tone never ends.
Oh, it's always evolving. Even the same pedals, I'm always like kind of messing with different dials and stuff.
You said it. You definitely said it right there. I stopped buying pedals and things like that, and I've spent the last few months just focusing on what I've got.
Yeah, there's something to like getting really intimate with the gear that you have and making it work for you. Because just make it your own. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be the most original tone in the world, but it can be your tone that works for you, that makes you happy. So
yeah, if you go back and you look at someone's rig, like I like to always look back at Eddie Van Halen's rig for the first 2 records. It's just a few pedals. Other tun that, it is strictly volume and a hot pickup. And
that'll take you a long way.
Yes. Another, and what brought me to the conclusion, man? You mentioned Rage Against the Machine at the start of this. Tom Morello set the settings on his Marshall in 1989. They have been there since.
It's consistency right there.
and that's awesome. That's just, you know, and I'm not the biggest Rage fan, but
No,
I
no.
respect what Tom Morello does, man. I mean, he's a really innovative guitar player.
Oh, for sure.
And again, a couple of pedals and an amp that he had, and that's it. And here I am, you know, and plus I'm saving money now too. So
Hey, I try to. Then I keep buying this nonsense.
And that's
I'm
dude,
bad.
that's beautiful. Those are investments.
Oh, they are. I definitely log them on Discogs and all that, and it's fun seeing things, either go down or up. It's like buying it's an investment, like you said.
Yeah, but some really, really impressive, and what you've got there is impressive, definitely.
It's something.
Scott Baggett and Carlos Reyes from Process.
Oh, they got insane collections.
Oh God, dude.
I don't think Scott knows this, but I have a bunch of tapes that probably once belonged to him.
Really?
So, like, I think Scott gave a bunch to Brandon from EXCAVATE at one point, and then Brandon came to practice one day with a huge cardboard box of tapes.
I tried to give Scott some tapes, and he said, no, I got rid of all my tapes.
Yeah, so, Scott, if you're listening, I think I have some of your tapes. Give me a second here. Like, got some, like, Old Testament, you can't see the glare, but some Testament stuff. And I got some Death tapes and some Anthrax ones. That I think one point used to belong to Mr. Scott Baggett.
Hey, check this out. Hang on just a second, okay?
I love show and tell.
All right, I think I'm gonna wheel these to my son because he just recently discovered grind.
All right.
Namely gore grind. And
oh boy,
I have had these for 31 years.
All right.
Okay, and I got them kind of at the same time. It's the only two I've ever seen with these covers. And here's one.
Napalm Death, Peel Sessions, cool.
And here's the other.
Carcass. Oof. Yeah, those are some nice possessions right there.
Yeah, Bill Steers on both of them, man. I'm like, wow, that's cool.
Oh, those are some cool artifacts to have right there. I think the only Napalm Death thing I have is I have a 7-inch split with the SOB that they did. I'm pretty sure it's a bootleg, but still cool nonetheless.
Oh, dude. Yeah, if you got that, I've heard of that. I do believe that is kind of considered fable, or I mean rare, if anything.
Who knows?
So, which era of napalm is it? It's Dorian and Steer, am I right?
Let me torture our audience with me looking through records real quick. Yeah, so it's got.
Oh shit!
And then it's probably backwards, but SOB. And when I look at it, like the paper is really cheap on the inside, which could go either way on whether it's real or not.
Right.
But I don't even remember where I got this from. Honestly, I've had it so long, but could be real, legit.
Don't let the quality of it discern you, man. I think those were done by them. I think those were DIY releases.
Could have been.
And I think like I said, just what I've heard.
How some dork in Memphis found it, I don't know, but here I am.
Yeah, that's many things. I had a Kill 'Em All vinyl one time. I traded for a Boss Distortion pedal.
Gosh, what's your top Metallica record?
Metallica?
Yeah. If you had to pick one.
What's the one with Until It Sleeps on it?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, not okay. It's not that one.
We're bad examples of Metallica fans right now.
Yeah. Favorite Metallica, man, is and this is probably weird, and I'll tell you why. It was the very first very first tape that I owned. It was the very first heavier metal that I heard. I was already into Sabbath. I was already into, Dio, things like that, Maiden. But Justice was kind of my introduction into, my decline of Western civilization.
Oh, Justice is an amazing record.
Yes,
I love that record.
Yeah, dude, Justice is tattooed on me, man. It's
hell yeah,
definitely, and the clicky kick drum that someone swears wasn't a trigger.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Who cares if it's a trigger or not? Just
right. But that dude, that sold me, because you could hear what Lars was doing. And that's some pretty technical drummy stuff as far as Metallica goes. And that's what I locked into was, the drums on that record. Why I'm not a drummer, I don't know. But yeah, that was it. Your top Metallica record, man. Hit me.
If I got to pick one, it changes like the wind blows. But right now, probably Master of Puppets.
Orion, dude. Oh God, dude.
It's just pound for pound. You can't just sit there and listen to one song. You gotta just let it keep going, man.
Yeah. So, if I hear Battery, then I want to hear the rest of it.
Oh, absolutely. Like that's a record you start and you just like, I'm just gonna let this keep going.
Yes.
Just let it keep going.
Yeah. Puppets was actually the second one I got.
Mm-hmm.
I was 9, man. I was 8. I was 8.
Nice.
And I got Justice. I was given Puppets by a neighbor kid whose parents would not allow him to own such things.
Nice.
So I got it, and then I had another neighbor that was, like you just said, I had a box of tapes, and there was Garage Days, Ride the Lightning, and the Jump in the Fire EP or single, whatever. So
yeah.
There's my Metallica story, man.
Very nice, very nice.
But not long after that, here comes good old Dave Vincent and Glenn Benton. They just ruined it for an old boy like me.
Florida happened.
Florida happened. Definitely happened. Yes.
When you make like a big 4 of death metal, it's like usually 3 of 4 or 4 of 4 is Florida bands.
Oh my God.
It depends what you consider Cannibal Corpse. Are they a Buffalo band or are they a Florida band?
It doesn't matter. They're the kings. I mean, I don't care what anyone says.
But then it's Obituary, Morbid Angel, Deicide.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions, Malevolent Creation. It's like.
Yeah. Dear friend of mine plays drums in Malevolent Creation right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Ronnie Palmer. He's a hell of a drummer. He's played with Angel Corpse. He's played with Immolation. I think Monstrosity for a short time.
Oh, man, Monstrosity is insane. Some of the goofiest artwork choices, but some of the best riffs.
Yeah. Monstrosity was one that, as far as Florida bands, I had no idea who they were until Chris was out of Cannibal Corpse, and they got George. I met George in 1996. They came
nice, I was
with
5.
You were. I was. I was old. And George was much older than me, but yeah, they came with Anthrax and some other bands, and yeah, got to meet Cannibal Corpse, and he was like, "Yeah, I sang with Monstrosity," and so I burned that into my brain, and then Alex talked about Terrorizer for an hour. So the next day I had Monstrosity. I can't remember the name of the CD, but that and World Downfall, and we went into another chapter there.
Oh, yeah.
So here's another question. If we play in some pretty heavy bands, what do you listen to when you're just at home? What do you listen to when you're not jamming, you're just kind of hanging out? What are you listening to?
Oh man, it's all over the map. Man, I listen to so much music. I mean, we listen to a lot of music like cooking and stuff around the house here. So
Yes.
things like Thin Lizzy comes on a lot. Kind of like some classic rock stuff like that, ZZ Top, Led Zeppelin, you name it there. Then also kind of more kind of weirder stuff. When I say weird stuff, that's super vague. So bands like there's a band called Bambara. They're kind of like punk noir is kind of how I describe it. It's like kind of westerny sounding, but kind of punk sounding. Super. They're their own thing. It's hard to describe them. Things like this band called Choir Boy. Listen to a lot of them. I just need to look at my records real quick because that'll. A lot of Converge gets put on. Torch gets played a lot. Kylesa, Yautja. So a really big mix of heavy stuff, not heavy stuff. It's kind of whatever the mood is.
Ah, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of the last few Paul Gilbert records.
Ooh, cool.
Now he's put out the Dio record, and they're instrumentals, but they're done in a way where all the vocal lines are played with a slide,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the coolest thing because if you line up his guitar parts with that singer's vocal line, I mean he's dead on with it. It's interesting because I've never been a slide player or anything, but now I so bad want to slide, and I know I'm going to be
delved
horrible
into that world too much.
Yeah, no, neither have I. But whether I fail or not, I want one. That and anything, I'm a big John Frusciante fan. Not necessarily a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, but
With the Chili Peppers, you can pretty much insert the word California for every lyric, and it makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vile
That's my take on Red Hot Chili Peppers.
California corruption. That would be cool.
California.
Yeah. Formula's fatal. Formula's fatal to California. That'd be a good one. Yeah.
Gateways to California.
Gateways to California. California tick.
Yeah, we got to stop this right now.
Stop it. Shut it down.
So with your journey doing this podcast so far, Anthony, what are some things you've picked up on the most with the folks you've interviewed before me? Putting you on the spot.
No. That's a very good question. Very good question. So far, man, everybody's story, has been their own, and it's the best part for me is just not only learning, but just taking in what they've done and what they've been through and their contributions to things and stuff like that, and which has been great because I thought I knew these people, and now to really sit back and listen to them, to really have the time to sit back and listen to them is really neat because like I did you tonight. Last night I did Heather Wallace. She is an encyclopedia of music.
Surely, yeah.
There may have to be a part 2 for her, but yeah, definitely. We're all not too different when it comes to this Memphis music thing, man. We all have the same love for it. We all want to see it do the best that it can be.
Absolutely.
And we all really, really want to do our part to make that happen. So
yeah, try our best to be cheerleaders for everyone else's bands.
Absolutely, man. There's some really great supporters out there too, man. And I'll keep this going as long as I can do it. And maybe if it ever comes to a point where I can't, maybe somebody will pick it up and run with it. I don't know.
Hey, man, it's a cool thing.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. So far, it's been really positive, man. Everybody's been pretty pretty positive about it.
Love that.
I think my tech leanings and my
it's very genuine.
Genuine.
Very genuine.
I like that. I like that. Genuine. See, you can change one word and fix everything. Like the other day, someone wanted to know. Said they had just noticed that I had a lot of white in my beard. I said that's not white. I said this is antique blonde.
There you go.
I churched that shit up.
It looks good. Makes you that much more handsome.
Thank you, man. Yours fits you good too.
It has its good days, you know.
A bad hair day is not lining it up right.
Oh yeah. I used to just let it just go, but now I work in an office now, so I kind of try to clean her up a little bit.
Yeah, I've tried to grow some Dan Garber type beards. I've tried to do that before, but I used to do a lot of grilling outside and a lot of drinking on top of that, and I have burned some good beards up. You know, they don't burn down; they burn up. You know, towards your face.
I've been there. I've been there.
I've
learned some lessons about starting propane cooking devices.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've learned some lessons. Put it that way.
Unforgiving.
Very nice.
Very unforgiving, dude. And to burn is to. Oh god.
Man, I worked in a kitchen for a long time, so I'm familiar with it.
I've always, I've worked in pretty much the natural gas business for 23 years, and to weld certain types of gas pipe, you basically got to melt it, and they had, there were these irons that you would put on the pipe, and you'd put a saddle on it, whatever. Neither here nor there. The saddle gets up to 550 degrees, and I was turning around. I was doing something, and you know how you kind of put your hands on something to kind of pick yourself up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on top of the iron. It had I wore the groove of that iron for a while.
Yeah, you'll feel that pretty good.
Drove home with my hand out the window. It was kind of cold that day, so.
Jeez.
Very nice. I would hate to. I would hate to get burned. I try my best not to get burned.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll start sort of. I don't know what your timeline is for this, but sort of summarizing what I got going on still. So
we've got a few minutes, man. You can plug away, my man.
Cool. I guess back to Memphis metal. One thing I really want to touch on is just how cool and diverse the bands and I guess the scene is now. Like more so than it's been ever since I've been going to shows, like Chattanooga included. I mean, I started going to shows, at the New Daisy and then skate park in Memphis, and then now pretty much just at the High Tone, and seeing trends come and go and seeing where things are now. It's awesome. There's so many bands, and I'm always saying make more bands. I'm in for it. You can start another band. What's your excuse? So
that band is my excuse.
If my mediocre guitar playing self can make it happen, you can do it. I mean, it doesn't have to be metal. It can be whatever. Just keep creating. It doesn't have to be music. Yes. There's so many people involved that aren't making music that are super valuable as well. Like you said, you talked to Heather. She's one of the most consistent showgoers, and she documents and archives everything. Yeah. And that is a priceless contribution to not just Memphis, but just the community and music community in general.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
So I'm sure people will see that episode before they see my episode, and they will already know everything about that. But people like that, people who make flyers, promote shows, work the bar at a show, work the door. I mean, there's a million things you can do to be active in this community.
Right. You don't have to play an instrument to be a part of this scene. I've brought that point up a few times. We have supporters that are just as much a part of, I mean, might as well be just as much a part of the bands as we are.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say I'd make all the music without the community around it, but it sure makes it a lot more fun having other people to enjoy fruits of my labor.
Yeah, for those who are interested, man, I love to do it. I think we all do.
Absolutely.
So, which is great. Yes,
it's fun.
for the love of Memphis music, my man.
Oh yeah, and
yes.
I've been to a lot of other places, and there's truly no other city quite like Memphis. Like when it comes to the music scene, like there's a lot of places I love to play that are special in their own special way. But Memphis is Memphis.
Absolutely.
Good or bad, indifferent.
And it hates you.
Oh.
Well, killer. Dude, coming up. Any shows coming up? I mean. Oh, man.
All right. I hope you got another hour for me to talk about other shows I got coming up.
Absolutely.
I don't know when this is getting posted, but Monday, March 27th. Yeah, March 27th. EXCAVATE's playing with Vomit Forth, Tomb Sentinel, Upon Stone, Anaphylactic Shock, the High Tone. Then, let's see. I'm just trying to think of my own band's shows here. We got Ritual Fog is playing April 2nd at Society Skate Park with a band called Spy, Cherry Smoke, and Apprehend. Let's see what else we got. I got a list. I'm going to use this technology around me.
Oh, there you go.
All right, cool. All right, Ritual Fog is playing again. This show actually just got announced the day we're recording this. It's going to be with Process Suffocation at B-Side with Grave Lurker and a band called Burning Death. So that'll be
awesome.
Cool. There's a few things I can't announce yet. And then Ritual Fog is playing a few shows in July with Flesh Rot, Grotesqueries, Sarcophagus, and Morbid Visions. That's going to be at the High Tone. I don't know the exact day, but in July. So
awesome.
there's a lot of death metal coming, and a lot of unannounced death metal that I don't think I can share yet. But there's a lot of quality shows. No shortage of good bands, like for any kind of metal lover. There's hardcore stuff, death metal stuff. I mean, we're not playing it, but Death Angels coming to town. I mean, there's so many things happening. I try to go as much as I can, but we're all human.
Death Angel is coming to
Growlers.
One of the nights they're headlining. The Growler show will be one of the nights that Creator is not with them.
That's a bummer. I think I got one of Scott's Creator tapes up there on my shelf as well.
Man, Scott was.
Thanks, Scott.
Scott was mentioned yesterday too. I won't give it all. You'll have to see it. But
all right, we need to give him a hard time about something now. Who else can we gas up?
Anybody. Look at.
I gotta start talking bad about someone. I've been way too positive on this talk.
I was told.
Who do we need to give a hard time to?
There's that one drummer. The fast guy. What's his name? He's got.
A lot of fast guys.
Yeah, but
is he in a band?
Yeah, that one band. Yeah.
I know Jeff in Process can really blast away. Yeah. Your guy Lloyd can blast away.
Yeah. I finally got to see Jeff with Carlos at Meddlesome. That was amazing.
I wish I could have been at that one. I was supposed to play that one.
That was packed, man, front to back, man. That was nice.
Yeah, my appendix decided it didn't want to be part of me anymore.
I remember that. Yes, I remember that, my man.
That was like literally the day before, and I was like trying to reason with the doctor and be like, so I got this show. How feasible do you think this is? And the doctor and my fiance were looking at me like I was a buffoon. they're like, you need to stop talking and just lay there. And I was like, you're right. And
Yeah.
when that Saturday came, I was like, yeah, there's no way I would have been able to do anything. I would have been in a bad place.
Yeah. Yeah. No sense. There's, no sense risking your life. We'll all be back around again. But yeah, it was great. Yeah, Jeff was awesome. He and Carlos are really, really great together, man.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to. I mean, Virtual Fog's played with Process before. Shards has played with them a bunch of times. I love any excuse to see Process is a good time. That was one of the earlier shows I went to when I was in high school, and that's when they had the a little more theatrics going on, with steaks and pig heads and all that stuff. And 17-year-old me was like, "Oh, this is extreme."
Yeah,
I'm a little nervous.
I saw him with the pig heads, man, and I was like,
"It was Memphis Hates You Fest, 2010." I remember I went with Todd Cochran. Me and him went to that together. I remember.
You got to go to that?
Oh yeah, it was like right before I went to college, and we went to that. The Small World Rag Picker, Ryan O'Neal's old band, played that too. But that was before I knew Ryan.
Yeah, it would be so cool if that could happen again.
I mean, I don't know if it could, honestly, because that was such a time and place thing, and it was centered around the forum, the board.
Yeah.
That was a culture of all of its own that I don't think could be. I don't think it could exist in today's. Just the way today is. But it's fun to think back about.
Right. We're on the same page, brother.
Yeah.
We're
if
on
you know,
the
you
same
know.
page. Yeah. If you know, you know. Yeah,
If you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you know. But,
Well, my man Ian.
What was that?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I think it's cool that the Memphis Hates You, pages are still around, and especially since they've been posting a lot of old flyers and shows lately.
Oh yeah,
On the Instagram, and they've hit a lot of memories. So
yes,
it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, and as long as as long as we got that, I don't. I'm sure the question's been asked a million times, but as long as we got that, man, it's kind of one of those things that, like you said, it was a time and place.
Yeah, and we got so much cool stuff happening now. Anyways, I mean, Memphis Underworld bringing a lot of great shows. Brandon, and then there's so many other people, just individuals booking things now as well.
Yeah,
that, I know Drew Miller from Knoll. He's been booking shows. They've been booking shows a lot. They booked the Spy Show. Then I book a show here or there. I try not to, but I end up doing it. It's not my forte, but every once in a while, I dabble.
It's not mine either, man. I like to write. I like to play.
Yeah, it's a lot easier, a lot more fun to just show up and riff out and hang out.
Yeah, Jeff has always handled, kind of the talking part, kind of, the go-to guy on the pages. Anytime anybody's ever asked us to play or anything like that, man. Jeff has been really, really good at that. So, and he's just so good at it. I don't want to take it from him. So.
And I like finding creative ways to, break it to bands asking us to play shows. Like finding new ways to turn them down. I want to be nice, but I really don't care at the end of the day. How am I going to tell them no? I'm not going to give you any examples of things.
No,
usually
I
just a lot of times we'll play with some cold call people that hit us up. We've definitely done that. All my bands have done that. I mean, sometimes it works out great. Other times you're like, I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
But
we were contacted several times by no one here. This is not a Memphis.
Oh, it's usually out of town. It's always out of town bands. And
yeah.
They're doing the grind. They're reaching out, probably messaging so many people. I've been there. I've cold messaged bands to try to book myself in other cities. I know the grind.
Yeah, not that we don't appreciate it, but it, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it
Well,
just
the best is when random artists message you on it's usually Instagram, and they just bombard you and harass you in your DMs. They're like, artwork $80, only $80 for you. I'm like,
yeah, for you today, $80,
$80.
and then
I was like, sometimes the art's cool, sometimes it's not, but usually I'm not. I'm usually, if I want art, I'm looking for it. I'm not. I guess I'm not a good customer.
I don't guess I am either, because I get those too, or it's hey, how you doing? I noticed your profile and really liked it. I'm the owner of such and such clothing company. I'd like you to model some clothes for me. And I'm like,
That's weird. I know. I know the Excavate page got hit with someone. They just said artwork and then just bombarded with a bunch of pictures of artwork. So, hey, they're trying to make a buck. They're doing their creative thing.
At least that's to the point, though. I mean, that's quick and to the point. You didn't have to wonder about anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes
they get a little beggy. They beg you, please buy my artwork. I need you to buy my artwork.
That's when you're like,
I usually just ignore it when.
Yeah. I mean, I like you said, man. There's the grind. Everybody's on it, but there's a way to handle business, and there's a way. Those who want your business
will find you.
We'll find you. I've never done well with people making me feel like, I had to.
But you don't, so that's the good thing.
No.
It's like some guy in a suit trying to sell you a timeshare.
Oh shit! I know people that have bought those fucking things, man, and they're
sucks for them.
Oh man, they'll never get out of it. They'll never get out of it.
When you die, it'll go to your next of kin.
Yeah. Poor Randy Marsh. He got sucked into that. I don't know if you know who Randy is.
I've heard the name. Is that a baseball player?
South Park.
Fuck. I'll embarrass myself.
Oh, I'll edit it out, man. We get
you can keep it in. I don't care.
Okay.
You can let people know that I goofed up a name.
Full disclosure.
I mixed up a reference to a cartoon.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do a whole video on that tomorrow for when they try to cancel you. You're gonna have to beg for a second chance.
Please. No.
This has been fun, brother. This has been
man.
Awesome.
It's been a good time. Appreciate
Thank you so much. Thank you
taking the time.
And yes. Thank you for your time, man, and thank you for your drive, dude. Thank you for being in 4 or 5 bands at one time, man. Thank you for putting all this music out, man. Thank you for.
There's probably bands I don't know about at this point.
I was at my other band's practice. Who? I don't know.
I forgot.
You could just get one big room at the vault, and on certain days, whatever band you're with, they come to you.
And we gotta have a whole other episode and just talk about the vault. Yes. I need to have an airing of grievances.
Okay.
But
we're no longer there, so.
Oh yeah, we're moving out this weekend.
It got that was a cheap place to jam at one time.
No longer.
Oh.
No longer cheap.
Oh my god. What do they think we make? Like $300 off streams or something?
They're like, I know how to get all these bands out of here. Keep raising the prices.
That's exactly what they did. I hope Epic of Unlight stay. I hope Incineration and Epic of Unlight stay.
Yeah, it is cool seeing all those bands. Like we had Pressed on our floor. Little Baby Tendencies is on our floor. The Worms, Breaking and Entering. There's probably other bands. Shards and AUTOLITH kind of like would share a unit. Well, we actually had 2 units like across from each other, and we would kind of open them both up. But now AUTOLITH, we're moving to a different spot.
I got you. Don't blame me.
The time is now.
Yes.
Sick, man. Let's see. Before I go, is there anything I need to say to the world while I'm talking to the legions of Mempho metal podcast listeners?
Legions.
Yeah, check out my bands if you want. Some of them are pretty cool. Actually, they're all pretty cool. You know, AUTOLITH, Ritual Fog, EXCAVATE, Shards of Humanity. I didn't talk about it, but I did play bass in an indie band called Terry Prince and the Principles.
I saw that. I saw that. The metal encyclopedia or whatever.
Yeah, it's weird that that's on there.
Yeah.
Like it's not a metal band at all.
I didn't think so.
Whoever fills those things out, they got jokes. The lyrical themes for Ritual Fog just says fog.
Really?
Yeah.
Carlo. There's a guy on there that posts a lot of underground bands, and I don't know who he is. I don't know where he's from, but his name on there is CHARLO, Carlo. So yeah, I mean, he's put some work in, no doubt. But
I know I've edited a few things that were like glaringly wrong, and I'm like, I'm gonna fix that.
Yeah,
I've done a little bit of that. Oh, if you go to the Excavate one and you look up Brandon on there, it's like not Brandon. It's like his picture.
Yeah.
But then there's a bunch of associated bands that he's not in.
Oh.
So that's kind of weird on the Excavate one.
Yeah,
the talent is pretty funny.
You should see Lloyd's picture on there.
Oh, I need to look it up.
Will smuggle cocaine in certain places. That's kind of like what his picture's telling me when I look at it.
Okay. Is that on the Hate Doctrine one? The Burial Within?
It might be Burial Within. I'm sure Hate Doctrine doesn't have one, but Lloyd has one.
You never know. You might be on there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You
never look yourself up on Metallum?
No.
I do it religiously. I gotta make sure no one's just never
filters, man. Filters and edit things out. Be like, I just don't like the way I look today. I'm fixing this. This does not look metal at all.
Oh, that's my life. I like a lot of metal. I play a lot of metal. Yeah. Am I metal now?
I like so much metal, but I think like the least metal thing about me are my strings.
Oh, nice, cute pink. Hey, they get the job done.
Yeah, and they're small. I'm a little string kind of guy, man. My hands are weak.
I'm kind of like in the middle ground. Yeah. But,
what are you using, 10s or?
I use those for the 6-string guitars. I use the Mammoth, those Mammoth slinkies. I can't remember the gauge numbers. Then
no, there's no gauge numbers, dude. For the first 20 years I played, it was just pink packs.
It was just the pink packs.
It was, I didn't even know they were fucking Ernie balls. They were just pink packs.
Yeah. And I know for the 7-string I used Diodario. It's the 7-string pack with the orange accent of color on it. I think the low string is a 59.
Gotcha.
The high E might be a 10. I don't know. Sorry, I can't be more help to you, Anthony. I hope you understand.
I'll never forgive you.
I don't expect you to.
No, we can get past this, man. We've gotten past a lot.
And like I said, I'm a caveman with a guitar, man. You're lucky if I'm in tune during a show.
Wow. That's the cool thing about being a 3-piece, man, is
yeah. I know. We use tuners.
Yeah, definitely. That's the first thing in the signal chamber, man.
Yeah, it is.
At all times, yes.
It is. You got
hey. While I was thinking we were talking about pedals, man. What drives are you using? What are you doing to dirty up?
So right now I'm using Earthquaker Devices Plumes. It's like a the Tube Screamer type pedal. It's just got different tone options on it, so it's kind of fun. I kind of use different settings between the bands. And then the distortion pedal I use is a Lone Wolf Audio Left Hand Wrath. That's what I've been using the past couple of years. It's like a HM2 clone, but it's got a lot more. You can dial in tones a lot more with it, and it's got a little more bass and body to it. I really don't crank it to where it sounds like an HM2 that much. I kind of dial that gain back, and it just sounds how it sounds. There's a hint of that HM2-ness, buzziness to it, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And before I did that, I used a very similar combo. I actually had a Tube Screamer, and then I had that go into the Throne Torture pedal by Abominable Electronics.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Which was it was a similar thing. It was an HM2 clone, but with the ability to kind of change the tone up. I got the Lone Wolf Audio one, and I just liked that one a little bit more. It was a little more beefy.
Gotcha.
So, at least for me.
Preference. Yeah, I've had the same TS9 for a while. I got a Friedman overdrive pedal, and I think they're two different worlds. You know?
Yeah.
Like the first expensive pedal I ever bought.
Yeah, that Lone Wolf one's easily the most expensive one I got. And it really wasn't that expensive. It was under $300, so it wasn't like crazy. Yeah, that was definitely the most expensive one I have. I also have the Digitech Whammy. I only use that to drop my tuning down an octave for Autolith. And then I use a chorus pedal and a carbon copy delay.
I use the carbon copy too in my loop. But you mentioned the whammy. That's how you're bringing the octave down on the other signal.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I have one too, and I like the Balance for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge era Van Halen.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of there's a way you do it. I haven't messed with it in a while, but there's a way you do it. You can kind of get that wet, dry, wet kind of mix out of it.
Yeah.
Actually, pretty cool. And I was like, well, now I don't need a chorus pedal. So
the chorus pedal I have, I only recently got it. It's by Old Blood Noise Endeavors. It's the XS. It's like this wild-looking pink pedal. It's actually a delay and a chorus that you can switch between.
Yeah.
And it's got this like parallel option where you could like have two tones going through the pedal at once. One is like your tone before the pedal, and then the wet delay or chorus kind of going at the same time. So which is kind of cool. Or you can switch it to where it's just the effect.
Wow.
So it's pretty versatile. It's a little toggle that you switch between. So it's kind of you can't like switch mid song very easily. But
yeah,
it's a cool, and it's also got distortion built on it as well, that's why they call it excess, because there's a bunch of crap on it.
More is more.
Oh yeah, but that's definitely. I'm always tempted to just buy a random pedal from oddball companies like that, but I usually just look at my bank account and I'm like, no. Okay,
next time you do, if you do that, and I've seen some really really cool pedals, but there's a guy from I can't remember where he's from, but his name's Michael Klein. He's on Facebook. He's building some really, really, really cool pedals.
I've heard the name. I know there's a semi-local person making pedals, I think called Pine Box Pedals. I think I know at one point the guy was based out of Byhalia, Mississippi. I know the Andy from Cora has used some of this stuff. Also, shout out Cora. If you haven't heard of Cora in Memphis, they put out an insane record, and I was able to do some vocals on a part. So that was cool.
Now we're up to 5 bands.
I mean, that was just a guest spot.
That's all right. But yeah, it was Andy from Nail Driver that turned me on to the Michael Klein pedals. He had one made for himself, and it was really, really, really cool pedal. And that guy inside the case, he puts Built with Love by.
Oh,
And
that's sweet.
What's his name? Really, really cool. Get a heart. You get a heart.
Oh, it's very kind. Very kind
Yes.
of Mr. Klein.
But very cool pedals. There's one called the Lonely Ghost. If you get a chance, check out the
I've heard of that pedal. I've seen that one. It's like
Yeah.
black with like clear-ish looking knobs, maybe.
At
At least some version of it.
Yeah.
It's got like a screwed-in plaque with the name Lonely Ghost on the front. Does that sound right?
Yes.
I have seen that. I've never played with it or knowingly heard it. So.
Yeah, some really cool pedals. And he doesn't make YouTube videos that make pedals worth so much that we can't afford them.
What's funny is I was, with Alan Burcham recording with Ritual Fog, and he actually acquired one of those Bad Monkey pedals literally a week or two before the silliness happened. So he got away with something wild.
Yeah, I'm so waiting on him to make a video on like a Boss DS1 or a MXR 10 band Kerry King EQ.
Oh yeah, you're looking at what you got ready.
I'm ready to retire, brother. Getting out this hoe.
That'll pay your mortgage for a month or two.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah, I can fish for a little while anyway.
Yep.
Buy me up some fishing licenses and stuff. Might even get a boat. I don't know, man. Depends on. I got to count up how many pedals I got and get Josh Scott to get some videos done on these pedals.
There you go.
Get this up. All right, man. I'm out for the night, man. Again, dude, thank you so much, man. Thank you
of
so
course,
much.
dude. It was a great time chatting.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it again. I'll see you at a show soon, man. We'll get together, dude.
Oh yeah, I will be at them. I'll be at shows. I will be there.
Well, I hope to see you.
I'll see you around. All right, man.
All right,
You're welcome for this lovely, awkward Ian goodbye.
Yes.
Peace.